for tonight.
Well, I'm always in for that free shit.
It's a bit of an interesting one, I don't know how big of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan you are, but there is a Xbox giveaway. Yeah, there's an Xbox giveaway, and they are. Let me just pull this up. It is the first ever pizza-scented Xbox and TMNT Mutant Mayhem controllers.
Pizza-scented.
Pizza-scented. You heard that right, guys. Designed to deliver the smell of the turtles' beloved meal to your game time. These exclusive Xbox wireless controllers come with a built-in scent and diffuser shaped like a delicious slice of New York za. The controller comes in 4 variations, each representing the signature colors, weapons, and personality of a turtle brother. So, if you are intrigued by this and you would like to try to receive one of these, fans can enter to win the wireless controller by following the Xbox Game Pass on Twitter and retweeting the official Xbox Game Pass sweepstakes tweet. The giveaway will run from July 24th through August 13th.
Well, it's a big departure from the typical Cheeto stains on most controllers these days. So,
yeah. They give you full permission to just go ham with the pizza. Oh, and speaking of pizza, if you are in New York City, they are offering you to come into the Xbox Gaming Lounge at the Microsoft Experience Center on 5th Avenue from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 2nd to load up and have a game day, I guess. And you get to check out the controllers in person.
So do they offer like a free sniffing?
You sniff, yeah. It kind of sounds like they're having a little game day, come in, play some games with the controllers, sniff them real good, I guess.
I mean, who doesn't want to be able to say that they went to New York City to smell a controller?
Yeah. I don't know if you're putting this up on the stream, but the pictures of the controllers are pretty cool, and the pizza diffusers kind of stick out the back, so it looks like you just have like the crust sticking out.
They just have like these little diffusing things, so it's like So it's not the plastic that smells like pizza.
Right. It's whatever this attachment diffuser. It is also shaped like a pizza.
I am very puzzled by this, and I know my fat ass would just try to eat it by accident.
Oh man, I don't know if that'd make you tired of pizza or to want pizza more. Oh.
I don't know. You smoke a lot. You just be like, oh damn, I'm ordering.
That's true. Just, here I go again.
Enough of this pizza talk. I'm going to be putting on some serious diabetes with all these carbs. Let's start the show. Welcome to Dungeons and Talkshows. I am your host Orion, bringing you
and I'm your host Sam.
Oh, we got monsters, news, and homebrews with none of the synchronization. But we're doing awful tonight. But we got some guests with us this week. Ramen Packet Gaming. Why don't you two introduce yourselves?
Fantastic. All right, highest roll goes first. I got a 10. What'd you get?
I got a 1.
Yeah.
All right.
All
right. We're Ramen Packet Gaming, a pretty new company at the moment. We try and put out weekly one-page RPGs. We have rodents, revolvers, vaguely Street Fighter resemble but legally distinct knockoffs.
Right.
Our own radio show that lacks the pizza scent. Unfortunately, we did not bring any pizza-scented
missed opportunity, truly.
Certainly an idea for our next product.
Indeed. But yeah, I'm Richard, this is Will, and thank you for having us on.
Happy to have you.
Absolutely. Like, someone had to, clean the scent of pizza out of the studio with Ramen Packet. A good dusting here and there goes a long way.
This reminds me, I had a friend a long time ago who, whenever he would get like a plain pizza, he would pop open some ramen packets and just like put the seasoning on top. And
I have mixed feelings about this.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel.
That is deeply horrifying, but also I respect it.
Giving me a
You're a
curiosity.
company out of a college, which means that instant noodles are a culinary staple, and you just hit a point where you have to experiment with what you have.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some interesting things, and that memory just kind of awakened.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just fortunate to live near like a Ivy League high school, and they get a lot of exchange students, and like they got this whole boarding school thing going on. And as a result, this store that's like half a mile from there is the only place in my area that sells good ramen. Like I got this ramen right here. Like,
oh, I love those ones.
Yeah, see,
We're
like
ready to go today.
Yeah,
like, we're not sponsored by them, but we should be.
Nissan, if you want to sponsor this.
Yeah, sponsors, please. We do love your ramen. The ones that I really like are the ones that come in like the square ones, and they have like the red top.
Oh, the soba.
Yeah, the soba. Yeah. So good. The teriyaki ones. Oh, yes. Sorry, just me fiddling with my light while I say this.
Oh, it's funny. Ours was definitely one of those name first, company second. When we realized Ramen Packet Gaming spells out RPG, we were then committed, and we have dived too deep, and now we're stuck with it.
Oh my god, you're a genius.
Right?
That's next level marketing. Like, the Trump move aside, we got fifth dimensional checkers over here.
Yeah. Funny enough, the name, coincidentally enough, is also the one of a board game which we have been having a bit of a rivalry with the past few weeks. Thankfully, we've gotten them off of the first page of Google, and we are very happy about that.
Yeah, we have a casual casual rivalry with Ramen Fury. They don't know we exist, but our entire goal is to get famous enough to be above them on the search results.
I feel that, because we had a little bit of a similar thing going on with TheNerdMilitia. Not to be confused with TheNerdMilitia, which is our production that we got going on here.
I don't even...
Well, you know what? So, we're bigger than them now, so...
so they seemed to be some kind of entertainment horror SCP company. I'm not sure.
It seems like something that somebody started on a weekend while they were drinking.
They forgot about it.
Yeah. Never really committed to it, but, all the better for us.
A cool idea.
Get those crime search results.
Yeah, literally our first business objective was to find every account we could to claim Ramen Packet Gaming across the entire internet. We don't have TikToks, but we want the ability to have them if needed.
Right.
I mean, we technically
you gotta have options.
I haven't posted anything on it.
Gotta trademark it as soon as you can.
We keep trying to put out as much variety as we can. And it's always interesting what people bite on, because we'll be like, "Hey, we have this complex, crunchy strategy game." Rolls eyes. How would you like to be a werewolf in Shadow Dark? 400 downloads the next minute. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's a big deal. No one told us about.
I would say that's amazing. Damn.
Oh yeah,
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
We literally had a folder we dusted off, and we were trying to work on a homebrew thing. We're like, we can make this work for Shadow Dark, right? Shadow Dark's cool. I mean, Shadow to Arcane Library Shadow Dark, by the way, it's actually a pretty solid game. But we're at the point right now of any game hits our table, we play test it, we do our radio show from it, we steal from it, we prepare our next project.
We're really not picky regarding these sorts of things.
Oh yeah, our last big drop-in game we had, we were running the My Little Pony RPG of all things, just to kind of force our more hardcore dungeon delving, min-maxing players to use friendship.
I like it.
It devolves into the deepest seats of fucking anime, fairy tale, where it's just friendship is my power.
It really did, though.
I will lose because I have friends by my side.
Well, literally the one player who ran off because they didn't have friendship kept trying to teleport to a city, and it gave them exactly half the distance each time. It took a while for them to realize the mathematical impossibility.
Oh, dude. You get half the distance every time, but eventually you're only moving one step, so you might as well put one foot in front of the other.
Oh man, that would be awful.
Yeah, that one was a highlight. Another one we ran was Trash Pandas, where it's 4 raccoons trying to enter illegal street racing tournaments.
I am gung-ho for this.
I live for it.
Like, I think the highlight is we hit a moment of peak drama where I had described a character as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and they went to Denny's with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, like you do. And then because they'd stolen John Wick's car and his dog, I had some really random characters for the street racers in this game. They had successfully managed to steal John Wick's car and his dog, so Hollywood Hulk Hogan heroically jumped in front of a bullet for them. And that is the single favorite thing I've ever had happen while running a tabletop RPG.
I have to ask, is this inspired at all by Wacky Races? Because that's good. I love it.
Races?
You've never heard of Wacky Races?
I am unaware of this.
Hanna-Barbera was before your time, my friend.
Before my time, huh?
For me, it was one of those I saw Wacky Races as you're sick on a school day, so they're playing old reruns. So I just was on the tail end of that. It was basically the most ambitious crossover since the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the characters that showed up in Wacky Races, and I'm not exaggerating.
It really was. Like, dude, they had like all the people from across their cartoons all in one show, and I don't even know if you could do that today, but if you did, it would make for one hell of a show. Like, if they had like a anime Wacky Races, it would break the internet.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Is this anything like The Simpsons home run?
A Simpsons hit and run.
It can be if you want.
Did you hear that they're bringing that game back?
Oh, dude, there's only one quote I know from that game, but I know it by heart.
What a time to be alive. We got aliens, we got The Simpsons.
I'm going to be honest. One of my goals for life, I was born the same year as The Simpsons started airing. And I have one goal as a person. To outlive The Simpsons. That is it. That is my one objective. And I don't know if I'll make it. What do you think will last longer? Syndicated weekly television or me?
This is actually a tough one because I can't remember the last time most people have given a fuck about The Simpsons. So your odds are looking good.
The last time they predicted something.
Ooh, yeah. What if they predicted that he'll outlive them?
Oh, we show up in the next episode.
Well, we're going to have to binge watch to find out.
If I could show up on an episode of The Simpsons, that's peak celebrity status. Yeah. Like, I will have peaked. It'll all be downhill from there.
There's going to be a company that they talk about ramen gaming on the news.
Oh, that's something they would talk about on there. Like, oh, hey, ramen packet over here. Oh, who the fuck names themselves after a ramen packet? These guys.
I see it. This is our call out to The Simpsons.
I mean, our tagline's pretty good, though. Games simple enough you can learn them, and at times it takes your soup to cook. Like, we got this down to a marketing science.
Honestly, this is some god-tier marketing, if I've ever seen any.
And the games are passable.
Well, that's the first step right there.
So is there no issue with using the word ramen? It's not like a copyrighted brand.
I don't think ramen is trademarked. I just
think it's... No, it's just a general dish.
What a way to live. What a way to life. Perfect.
If ramen ever gets trademarked, that signifies the end of the universe as we know it.
So many companies would fall.
For the amount of ramen I've eaten in my life, I'm pretty sure I'm like legally indistinguishable from it at this point. Yeah. Like if you are what you eat, I'm probably like 50% ramen anyway.
Yeah, it's like those TikToks where they like take a little ramen things, they like break it up and then they like get it wet and then like use it to like fill in cracks on like wooden banisters, and it's just like why would you do that? Just use sawdust and glue, you dumb. Like, I'm done. I can't even.
If for some reason you don't have cock, you have ramen, you can just use ramen.
It's not as bad as the ramen burger a friend of mine made, where he didn't have burger buns, so he literally used the two like ramen noodle package as the burger buns for a hamburger to eat.
I'm skeptical but intrigued.
Like, you have to cook
I just want to talk.
You have to, like, crack an egg in there and cook it a bit to make it, like, have the structure. My friend lived.
I just have a question for him.
Of course.
I've got a few questions. We gotta bring him on. I just want to talk real quick.
I swear, the whole episode's just going to be us talking about various things you can do with ramen. Like when my wife takes ramen noodles, and rather than make a soup, like she'll get them all good and ready to go, throw them in a frying pan with some beef, and like she'll just get the ramen packet, kind of like put that over the top, and like a couple other things, like maybe a little bit of soy sauce, and she'll fry that shit up, and it's amazing.
Oh, that is fantastic.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, imagine using ramen as a cereal.
Ew.
You know, the really worst part about that is, before I got into like gaming as a career option, I was a trained chef.
I'm afraid.
So, like, that's the running joke. It's like, oh yeah, I have 5 years culinary experience, and here I am putting prime rib in my instant noodles because I don't care anymore.
You know, to our listeners, I want you to put a comment on how you like your ramen, and tell us how we're degenerates for liking it this way.
I'm just like, damn. He's out of line, but he's not wrong.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Literally, let him cook.
So I got to know, getting on track to your gaming philosophy, is there like a core mechanic that you try to include that like really simplifies everything, like something that ties it all together? Your ramen packet to every bowl that you're making here, you know?
See, that's the irony of it is we make it that you have to fit 12-point font on a single sheet of paper that's also the character sheet. But each game we've deliberately used a different core mechanic to try and really deep dive into those mechanics. Ooh. Like our Cobalt and Bad Credit mechanic, we took the core, we call it the Pony Engine, which is really just exploding dice that change the dice place each roll. For our Rodents and Revolvers, we switched out randomization with a poker system, where you're effectively playing a bluffing card game. So right now we're in such an experimental phase that we deliberately try out a new core game engine each one-page game, just so we can kind of, while working on our own proprietary game system, get the best sampling we can.
Okay. Experimenting has also solidified my love for the roll-under system and has kind of raised my disdain for D&D system as a whole, because once you get to like, wow, this is so clean and efficient. I don't need to worry about 7,000 different features that I'm never going to use. Whoopee.
But the counterpoint to that, though, is if your system's too simple, people will never play 2 weeks in a row. Like, Rodents and Revolvers is fantastic. You're playing your Westworld-inspired, genetically modified raccoon escaping a theme park. That entertains people once. But once you've fired that bullet, you're not going to have them show up week for week to want to play that. Or something more crunchy like 5e or Project Black Flag, I believe it's called Tales of Arcadia now, you can kind of get that like recurring theme. So we're very flip-floppy, and that's kind of the point, is we make our playtest group try something new every week, whether they want to or not, so we can get as much data as possible.
Like, I love that you describe 5e as crunchy, because I know we're going to get some people in the comments on that one.
We had a guest who described 5e as crunchy. We had a whole conversation about this.
It's crunchy compared to Cairn.
Yeah, I think they were talking about the math, right? The math being very crunchy or something like that.
It's less that 5e is crunchy and more, it's kind of like the gallbladder, where it's existed for so long that it's not really for an actual feature as designed anymore. So like when we try and teach 5e to new players,
what an analogy.
Hit brick walls, because there's mechanics that depend on you being more familiar with role-playing in general. Where it's like, for example, Shadow Dark, I can grab a player off the street and be like, hey, come play this game, and have decent success. If I go straight into Pathfinder, I have to have their character sheets written and memorized so I can teach someone how to use it while they play it.
Yeah, like, that's one of the biggest issues I have as a DM. Like, I have to know the characters, I have to know the players' characters better than they do, and it's annoying that I have to educate people on how to use their character sheet 6 months into a campaign still, you know?
Yeah, I get that, for sure.
Absolutely. Like, because I do drop-in play mostly, since of our nature of our playtest group being a drop-in environment, I hit interesting points where not only do I have to know people's characters, but I've literally said the phrase, listen, I can't check if you're cheating. If you're playing something like, oh, I'm playing a Githyanki Pirate Psy Warrior, I don't have that memorized, and I have 8 players, and 3 of them don't know what a D10 looks like. So, cheat responsibly. It's okay if you cheat, as long as I can't tell. So if you make an athletics check, and you tell me it's a +12, and you're playing level 3, my basic mental math's like, okay, where did you get an expertise? Oh, you're a fighter? I think you're cheating me. But if you do it reasonably, like, oh yeah, my passive perception is 18, sure, I'm not going to fact check you. I got 8 players to track, and one of you is literally 3 kobolds in a trench coat.
I can see that, yeah. Or, some people who may, lie about their roles a little bit, make us excessive, to something else.
Yeah, so I just tell them.
I mean, I think it is what it is, really,
It's like, I don't mind, but it's just the environment matters, like a long-going crunchy campaign. I like saying crunchy because I'm talking like instant noodle crunchy, like you can crumble them at a touch.
Right.
Like if I try to pull out like Eldritch Horror or New Edo or something that's actually mechanically intense, I would need to curate a play group and not do that for convention style play.
It makes a lot of sense. Like with what you're putting together, it's very like, okay, very much like how Magic the Gathering was when it was first brought around. Like, it was something to occupy time at conventions when people had, like, little slots of, I don't know what to fucking do. Ain't much going on.
Right.
Exactly. Like, we got the club room booked for exactly 3 hours, and no one's bringing characters prepared in advance, so that means we have half an hour for character creation and 2.5 hours to make a story happen. So, that's why it became such a great testing environment, because you can be like, okay, we're playing kitchen table robots this week. Here's your robot. Here's the rules. We're going in half an hour. Take your bathroom break now. We don't have time to go over things. Please raise a hand if you have a question.
Right.
Yeah, and in terms of playtesting, it's not just that it's speedy, it's also we have such a variety of different players. Like, as mentioned before, we have the sort of very technical players, but we have the role players as well. So that's a really great way to kind of discern, hey, okay, this is how good the system is for role-playing versus this is how the math works. Is the math broken? Yeah, it's a good way to find out. Thanks, Murder Hobo / Minimaxer.
I mean, I've demoted him to Munchkin. He's gotten better. He's hit Munchkin status. But last game we played, it was a new game we were playtesting, and one of the feats was the small feat. It didn't say the minimum size. So he's like, oh, can I play an ant to scale as an ant? Because I want to be a talking ant this week. And I didn't know how to handle that information because the rules didn't say he couldn't. And I was morbidly curious to see where this went.
Understandable.
Yeah.
And long story short, he was with the evil fey creatures about being pro-eugenics. You really can't... It was problematic, to say the least.
Right. This is interesting. I like this.
Like, one of my personal favorite sessions is we spent like 30 minutes to mark up this polymorph system from 9th level gaming to be a magical girl game. And every player had brought their best transformation animation. One of them, like, literally did, like, from Bleach, a Bankai where a pocket watch transformed into a series of floating clock faces. And another one did their exact outfit, but sparkly. And that joke was amazing, where one does the full transformation and rides out the door on a tidal wave. Another does an awesome clock-ticking thing when a murder of crows carries them down. The third person took the stairs. So we get a very interesting group when you just kind of open up your game to who wants to try it.
I really like that, and there is one thing that works very well with this, and I'd say it's probably a unintended aspect of everything, is because things are so simple and quick to pick up, it's more child-friendly for parents like myself that are trying to bring their kids into the hobby.
Oh, absolutely. Like, we ran kobolds with bad credit at a local game store a while back. Was just
kobolds with bad credit?
It's our one-page game. You play a kobold who got trapped in an MLM scheme trying to pay off their loan to their dragon overlord.
Oh, jeez.
You could literally just hand out 3 dice to every person in the game shop, 1 sheet of paper in front of them, and we could get them the basics of role-playing down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that simple. They went on their elaborate heist, they stole a coffee maker, mild war crimes were had, and it was good role-playing fun times.
Hell yeah.
That works very well. It's like, I've tried a couple times to do some RPGs with my kids, and they're exceptionally good at the roleplay aspect, but not very good at the, any amount of number crunch, because their children, maths and reading skills are not exactly where they should be.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, go ahead, sorry.
I can imagine that having kids play D&D could be very good for teaching those things.
It absolutely is.
About it. There's a ton of reading, ton of small things to read, big words, easy-ish numbers.
Well, it's interesting, too, like, when we were talking different game systems and why we like them, like, roll-under systems are very straightforward. If your number's lower than the stat, you succeed.
Right.
Polymorph uses a system where you literally roll a different dice based on your character class, and if it lines up with the number on the table, it succeeds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where you kind of slow-roll people into the math. Because, quite frankly, and we play largely with college-age players, you'd be surprised at how much having to add a 5 to something can completely defeat a 4th-year business major.
Yeah.
I am not surprised, actually, because, there's a reason that 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years.
Yup. Our group's so fascinating because we'll have supply chain management players playing with the creative writing students. So you get person A being like, so what's the most economical way I can make this grain explosion? Person B being like, I am Bull the Adventurer. Follow me into the twilight.
This works so well, and I can really relate to that because the last big campaign I ran was Acquisitions Incorporated in theme.
True.
Which is a very business-esque kind of casual, fun kind of game. And one of our players was a business major going into accounting and stuff. So he proceeded to be the stoner druid building his weed empire, marketing the giggly bush from the high forest.
Classic.
One of my favorite long-running campaign stories is when they decide to get into municipal politics and run for mayor. And no, seriously, how does So I have Wikipedia open over the weekend, be like, okay, how do you actually be an alderman? What's an alderman? Try and actually have them have a legitimate election process. It's just a month in game, 4 sessions of just how do you become the mayor of this small town?
The only thing I know about aldermans is that's what Obama was before he became a president or senators. He used to be an alderman, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know what the fuck that is.
The only thing I know about alderman is from if you've seen F is for Family. It's basically like a small town mayor, or like a half of a mayor.
It's effectively like the mayor equivalent to being a senator. It's it's that level of we're one of the main people on the board to decide things the city does.
Right.
Wow, I live in small town, backwoods, Maine, so I don't know shit about city life. I
don't know shit about fuck.
I mean, I used to live in Saskatchewan, the geographic middle of nowhere.
Oh man!
If I remember correctly, I think that's where Total Drama Island takes place.
Oh my god, it is. I'm pretty sure. I fucking love Total Drama Island. If you like Total Drama Island, look at a good rating.
But yeah, that's where About is. Just run simple, easy to play games for now while we work on something needlessly elaborate in the background. It's just kind of getting our name out there. That's why literally all of our products are pay what you want. It's yeah, you want to download and play a modified chess game? Go for it. We literally it's a one-sheet game called The Ultimate Showdown. It's our newest one we just launched. Mm-hmm. And what we did is, that game you play of who would beat who, but the restrictions are you have to pick a character from a different franchise?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a scoring system for that. So how it works is you get 1 star if the character just win, but the fight's not interesting. Mm-hmm. You get 2 stars if the character would win and it's a good fight. You get 3 stars if it's a mathematically perfect counter that's truly beautiful. Kind of like if it's like, well, I'm going to send Lex Luthor, and someone's like, well, I counter a Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Perfect counter. Lex Luthor has no recourse in that scenario.
I agree.
So, like, our game is literally a piece of paper with a score sheet for you to just play this word game. And I love it.
Death Battle. Take notes. This guy's cooking over here.
Yeah, honestly, what the heck? Come on, Death Battle.
Shit. You ever see Death Battle? It's like, they'll throw out character matchups, and it's just like, who asked? First off, not even a balanced fight.
Who asked for this?
It was me who asked every time. And you're like, who wants Majin Buu to fight Kirby? That was me. I'm the one person who asked for that. And
that one was pretty cool.
Well, some of the matchups are just like, no, that this isn't even close, and no. Like, anytime they have Ben 10 matched up with anybody, it's just like, why? Why? He's got
don't understand.
He presses a button and becomes God. Your argument's invalid.
But yeah, like playing this little Multimate Showdown game, we've definitely had some like fun matchups that really hurt your brain. It's like, yeah, this Ben 10, literal God. It's like, yeah, here's my obscure anime characters whose left hand negates supernatural bullshit. Perfect counter, got you.
Got him.
I love Ben 10.
And then you send in Mr. Rogers because he beats everyone every time.
Oh, who's gonna beat Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, he just wins. What are you doing?
He's just too wholesome. Although I'm a big
guy.
I'm a big fan of the Mr. Rogers theory that, like, there was a rumor that went around years ago that he used to be like a sniper in the Marines, and just the mental image of him on a battlefield singing to himself like, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Takes a shot. Beautiful day for a neighbor.
Hello there, neighbor.
Would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Sights him in. Hello, neighbor. Boom.
Amazing.
I mean,
head blown off.
I mean, if you count Bob Ross as one of those wholesome types, then that is actually the case.
Yeah, he did do that. Yeah, literally. He's that guy.
Bob Ross is like the real life version of the dad in fucking Vinland Saga.
Ooh,
yeah, real life warrior, tearing shit up, but by the end of it, he's just peaceful. He's like, I have no enemies. Look at these happy little trees.
He's just vibing, man.
Exactly, man.
On my to-do list has been running the full-on pirate campaign. Like, that's just kind of like been sitting there as like my opus maxis of DMing that'll happen someday. But you just need the right crew.
I am gung-ho. I love that kind of stuff because, you know, major One Piece fan right here. I once made a campaign setting that was loosely based on some of the concepts that One Piece touched on and world building wise, but instead of like a grand line, like the entire planet is kind of formed to be almost donut-like, where there's a area that goes straight through the center of the Earth, and because of gravity being all weird and stuff, it is effectively like a donut, and it's like, okay, all kinds of weird cosmic bullshit happens here. Portals, unstable weather, different dimensions all crossing in and out. So like anywhere from the plains or the Nine Hells, like each island will be connected to like a different location.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
it was kind of funny. So to like hyper last little Shadow Dark thing. See, no, a lot of times there'll be cool race ideas, cool functions, but they won't realize that that's like the actual theme of the character. So we made werewolves a class, and we made vampires a class, and we made Fae a class, because a lot of times people don't want this as like a side thing. I know this is kind of a joke, the old elf is the class, but I find that if you let players have like the exact thing they want, they're over the moon. So like,
absolutely.
Instead of like, oh, I'm a rogue swashbuckler, like part of me is like, can I just let you be a pirate? Here is your class pirate. I have homebrewed you a pirate because pirate is clearly what you want to be this week.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And honestly, like if you think about it, with vampirism and lycanthropy, it's one of those things where if you learn to master it, then it gets better. But if you don't, then you're just not going to be all that powerful, objectively.
Yeah, I mean, in the Grim Hollows books, those kind of things are treated as a transformation class. So they're kind of an addition to your class, with their own kind of features and RPG elements. And
yeah, there's like tiers of as that grows and develops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Ezra has the primordial one. Our druid has the Fae. Yeah, pretty interesting.
I do have to ask, what is the largest consecutive campaign you've ran? Level what to what successfully?
So currently, I'm running our ongoing campaign, our Grim Hollows. They started at level 3, I believe. They're about level 6 or 7 now.
I think we're level 8 right now, and
I don't remember. It's been a while since we had a session.
Yeah, for me, the highest level I brought my party up to personally was about level 8 from level 1. Mm-hmm. And that campaign took about a year.
Yeah, we're getting into the 6 months range of this campaign, I believe.
Yeah, I've only ever successfully done the 1 to 20 once. It was a 4-year ordeal.
Wow, that's impressive.
Our last session, because we're like, this is probably going to be the last one. We actually booked a back room in a nice bar because we knew we'd be there all day. So we booked their party room and just ran D&D in this bar from 12 to midnight.
That's amazing.
That's only time I've ever actually finished the campaign. And I literally wrote up little prologues for each character because I knew they'd succeed except one of them who did not make it. But no one really liked Keith anyway.
Yeah,
this one character they deliberately made, and they've worked their way into one of my novels I've written as well because I just enjoyed this character so much where their entire thing is I'm rich and I'm funding the party. They're a bard, and they never made a single attack from level 1 to 20. All they did was say their bardic inspiration, which was, hey, if you do this, you're going to be looking at a bonus. Hey, if you keep impressing us like that, you might get a promotion. And that's all they did was they were the team manager.
That's really funny.
That sounds like some acquisition stuff, and if you really like that kind of thing, I highly recommend checking out the source book for it, because they have these jobs that are kind of like roles that go on in the background that offer bonus proficiencies, and as you progress throughout the game, you eventually get different tiers and ranks and more special abilities that come out of it. It's like, say you're a cartographer. It's like, okay, cool. You get some map-based abilities and some navigation skills. Or say you're like a documancer. Okay, you're documenting things, so you get a couple extra proficiencies and some tools and stuff. And the special abilities that come with it are they're minor, but they still have impact on the game.
But yeah, this particular party, so the party was nearly unkillable. They were a cleric, a paladin, a druid, but the 3 players between them had 2 doctorates. These were my most clever group of players I've ever had. And at one point, they were able to, they were on a boat that was invisible in the middle of the ocean to hide from a dragon. I get to make a perception check with this ancient dragon every hour. And the dragon looked for them for 2 weeks before giving up. Because they're the crew that's invisibility, pass without a trace, put up a smoke screen, hide in the Arctic.
Right.
But the best trap I've ever laid for any players was what I called the library of everything you've asked me this campaign. So they broke into the enemy stronghold. There was a library.
Amazing.
And all I did was tell them it'll take you an hour, but you can answer a question. And 3 days had passed, and the enemy had burned down their hometown because they just kept asking me information. I'd give them the honest answer because they'd find it in the records. And the entire trap was it was a library, and they'd kill time there. That was it. Is I will answer every question you've had, and it will eat up your clock. That was the trap in its entirety. Perfectly.
I'm gonna write that down real quick.
I may yoink that. Be taking notes in the corner.
That's really good. I like that. I've put together some traps before. Nowhere near as clever as that, I'm ashamed to say. But at the same time, when you're trying to outsmart people with doctorates, sometimes too much information is the way to do it.
They were the best to mess with because you could just do something simple. There's a spider on the ceiling. And then they killed that spider. And then the spider's lawyers came for them. It was a whole thing. I'd have to they'd clear the audience trap and then fall for the larger next level. I had to triple trap these people to get them. My dropping groups, there's a hole in the wall of spikes. Problem solved. for this group, it has to be a hole in the wall with spikes, and the spike has to be the key, and the key has to open the candelabra, only for that to be a diversion while the other attack is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he took a page out of The Art of War, and I would say that's kind of the unsung hero of D&D source books in general.
What a good segue. You could talk about your Art of War. Well, Ryan, don't you have something of an Art of War in the works?
Yes, actually. There's a book that I've been working on, kind of an adaptation of The Art of War, The Gamer's Art of War. Currently, I'm only a few chapters in, but I'm sure you guys have played some games online. You're just like, wow, all these kids and teenagers, they're all dumb as fuck. Not a tactic to be had between them.
Yep.
You wonder where all the brain cells went, and apparently it's to this art of gaming.
Well, I'm attempting to rectify the situation with The Art of War, The Gamer's Art of War, both as a book that I want to try to see if I can convince a something like Scholastic or something, sneak it into book fairs, you know?
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's all about that on-foot networking.
Exactly. And to cover all my bases, I'm going to be starting a little YouTube Shorts TikTok kind of series to cover all the points of the Art of War and how they apply to both D&D and gaming in general. So that,
awesome.
While people are using TikTok and Shorts to kind of destroy some brain cells, maybe counteract just a tiny bit of that.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, it's a little more sophisticated than with my first book, where I would literally go into libraries and put copies on the shelf in the fantasy section and just kind of hope people would find it.
Hey, that's a good idea.
That's brilliant. I mean, typically when I hear people taking books and putting them in the fantasy section, it's always some asshole thinking they're clever for putting the Bible there. And I'm just like, dude, no one thinks you're funny. Like, I'm not a Christian. It's just like, why you gotta bash people, dude?
It's like, come on, just leave it alone.
No, I'm much more insidious with my marketing. Like for my first novel, I had t-shirts done up. I gave them away to people as a prize so they would see it.
Yeah, that's what we need to do for some NerdMilitia.
Yeah, because then that's a t-shirt is a conversation starter, for better or worse. I mean, I got a conversation starter of a shirt right here. People are like, hey, I love your shirt. I'm like, yeah. I play D&D. And you ever watch Stranger Things?
Oh,
fortunately, I'm just wearing a. I don't know if you recognize this one.
I don't. I am culturally illiterate.
Magus Bride, man, come on.
Oh no, I've literally been at tables being like, "Have you heard of Dungeons and Dragons? You know, the game from Stranger." I've given that. Last week, I was giving that speech to college students that walked by. Come join the RPG club.
Speaking of things that are vaguely D&D related. Bit of a segue here. Don't we have some Magic the Gathering news?
Oh yes, there's this is something very near and dear to our hearts that kind of popped up in the news recently. Very relevant due to we had a player death in our current campaign.
It was in our second session, I believe.
It was like the third, I think, and one of our players died to a Goose Hydra.
Okay, so let me explain a little bit. So they were in kind of this kind of a soft forest, They're walking through along this river. There's like this path that kind of bridged off into like this alcove. They kind of peek over, our roguish what was he, Tabaxi, I believe? A roguish Tabaxi kind of skirts around to scout out the area. He gets full eyes on this four-headed Hydra goose. He's like, I could take this thing.
Well,
he could not.
After his tragic death to the multi-attack of a vicious goose, apparently there's going to be I'm going to pretend that they're commemorating his death with a five-headed Hydra goose thing coming out as a card for Magic. So in the I think next year. Okay, so it's more like planned for later this year.
Rest in peace, Percival.
Yeah, so they're going to be doing a Hydra Goose in Magic for. Oh, it's teased for 2024. Okay. Cool.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
And the creature I used was from the Grim Hollows books called the Goostra. And it has the baby goose, and it was just like the 1 or 2 heads. And then, I did get to a max of 5 heads. But I even had them, 1 head was like destroyed already.
I guess the creature's gaining traction.
I like it.
Those things are terrifying. Wild hordes of them live in this region of Canada and be very afraid. They don't fear you. They want to cause auto problems.
Oh man, speaking of Canada, we have a little bit more news here. I don't know if you guys heard, but there is GameCon Canada coming.
I would love some info on that.
Yeah. It looks like it's coming from June 23rd to 25th to, August, I believe?
All the way to August from June? It was like a whole summer convention?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
How are you about to capitalize on like the entire season of not snow?
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit more news from the website here. GameCon Canada. This website's cool as hell, to be honest. All ages event, video games, board games, cosplay, esports, RPG programming, celebrities, toys, and much, much more.
Oh, hey, that sounds like a promo opportunity.
Oh, this one ended already. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the one in 2024.
Oh, so better luck next time. Actually, they got some time to kind of build themselves up, get some notoriety, then jump in on next year's Canada GameCon.
Yeah, it does look like if you go to the website now, you can stay tuned for the next month where they'll be releasing the dates for next year.
Ooh. Oh, hey, that's where it's at right there.
So you can scan the QR code. So it looks like get the GCC app. So stay tuned.
Yeah, send them a link for that.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we pretty much go where invited and sometimes not.
Yeah.
We're planning to hit up some conventions at some point and just start podcasting live from the convention floor.
How cool would that be?
That's the way it's done.
Exactly. Just be like, you, sir, in the strange costume I cannot place. Would you like to be a guest?
You got to be strategic. Be like, all right, we got Doom Guy and we got Isabel from Animal Crossing in our booth today.
Ah, perfect.
Isabel, are you not a furry?
I am not. Not for this paycheck.
We have our love for furries. Our editor is a furry.
We got a lot of furries on the server.
Love
actually,
you,
it's one of those things where you wouldn't expect it, but there's just a lot of them.
It's a big community.
It
kind
really
of
is.
related, but not really. Like when we went to run our My Little Pony adventure, I needed to get a friend of mine who was a lore expert to explain it to me. Because I'd only seen bits and pieces and gifs. I'm like, okay, I need you to correct me when I get the terminology wrong, because people will fight you over that.
Yeah, they will.
Oh, they will. It's one of those things where when it comes to that kind of stuff, people get extremely lexical. Every lexical rule lawyer type will just burst through the wall like the fucking Kool-Aid man. Well, actually, this is how it's done, and this is how it's said, and you got this wrong because this is actually correct.
I can't wait to get actually on our shorts.
We were so confident about being actually. During our rule explanation, we said each actually is 1 point of psychic damage.
Oh man.
So it was literally take a point of psychic damage for trying to correct the timeline.
That's brilliant.
I feel it.
The universe has an auto-correcting algorithm.
Balanced as all things should be.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I agree. Right.
Reaching the peak right there.
We're looking at our time here. I think now would be a good time to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our...
Oh, you could come back in with our monster for the week, Sam.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so usually for our break, we just go and take a moment to hit the bathroom, refill your drink or whatever. Then we get right back to it.
Longer live at this moment?
Just for the moment, yeah.
Oh, how did we do on the first half? Because I'm not sure how much chiming in we're supposed to be doing during your news segments and things.
Really good.
Aye, works for me.
Y'all are doing amazing. I'll be right back, and we'll get started again.
I almost had the opportunity to tell my favorite moment where we had to tell our group of serious players, grow the fuck up, we're playing ponies, okay?
I think you'll get a chance to say that. Or I'll get a chance to say that. One of us will get a chance
I'll
to
let
say
you
that.
have it this time, because it's just so funny that it's like, can I use my telekinesis to pull the blood out of their body? Grow the fuck up, we're playing ponies.
Oh dear.
So true, though.
I love players that try to min-max a game that they've never read before.
Can we really have 2 friendship class characters? That could be a problem.
Fuck you! Friendship is magic!
Oh, we literally had a player be like, we have 2 friendship aligned people and not enough harmony aligned people, so we should probably reclass.
And it's so much funnier because he had never read the book before. And imagine trying to min-max the pony game.
It's just like, come on, guys, it's ponies. Just roll with it.
Like I was saying, one of my favorite things I think I've ever said during a game. So one of my players like, it says I have telekinesis. Can I rip the blood out of their body? And I'm like, grow the fuck up. We're playing ponies, okay? Make it PG-12. Be a goddamn adult.
And first off, like, the amount of force it would take to do that.
Right?
Like,
but it's just, where's your brain at when that's your first thought? I mean, like, you guys are aware I really don't want to say a player died during today's session, right? That's not what I want for me or the world.
Not to mention, like, there's so many physics things that would come into play in such a situation. It's like, okay, sure, you're trying to rip all the blood out of their body, but you have to create an incredible amount of, let's say, like, a vacuum of force to just kind of do that. Like, how?
That's like, not even the most ridiculous, like, physics-related feat this person tried to do. Okay, so, another game, it was the Magical Girl game. This guy tried to use his powers to shift the tectonic plates and cause an earthquake.
It's just like, excuse me? All right. Ready to get back into it, Sam?
Here. How's this lighting? Look a lot better?
It looks good, man.
All right, cool. I put a lamp on my table.
All right. And we are back. Good to go. And you ready for the monster of the week? You know, we kind of missed out on last week's monster, kind of got too entrenched in the conversation.
Yes, yeah, sorry to people who maybe missed out on that one, but promise there's a lot to talk about today. Oh man, this is kind of a deep favorite of D&D, you know, a staple of the franchise. Even if you haven't fought one, I'm sure you've seen or heard of a beholder, but these big bad eye guys have a lot to say and a lot to do.
They are a classic.
They're pretty classic. Well, you were going to say something there for a minute?
No, I'm good.
I will happily point out that
go for it.
I'm currently up to 3 for 3 for campaigns of Xanathar showing up. It is one of my running jokes that they'll find actual name brand Xanathar, and Xanathar will say in character, "How have you not heard of me? I am on the cover of Volo's book. I posed for 3 hours. I'm the monster."
I love it. I'm gung-ho for this. Canon Xanathar my canon Xanathar shall forever be like that. Just the same as like when I ripped off Omen Drawn from the Ack Inc. because like he was supposed to be the boss for that campaign. I gave him the biggest Patrick Warburton impression I had, just like with an extra bit of asshole to it. It's like, right, so listen up, you're gonna come in, and we're gonna have a brunch. Now, at this brunch, I will give you your rewards for all your hard work. But here's the deal. It's kind of an early bird special, but I'm not going to be paying for the brunch. That's out of pocket. That's out of pocket for you.
Wish I could do voices.
One of my favorite encounters. I was running D&D for a couple of new players, and a beholder was thrown in, which was kind of silly because these were like level 2 players. And then one of these players, they look up, see this gigantic creature, it's like, oh, it's Mike Wazowski. I didn't know he was a boss.
Vicious mockery. Roll D100.
Take psychic damage. I always love my Xanathar because he uses his insanity to break the fourth wall. He's like, you do realize they're all just figurines being looked above from gods that don't care, right? They spent hours dry brushing you to come to me and die.
Oh, I like it.
His Xanathar just keeps getting better and better.
Here's a great. Oh man, this gives like a really great, I think, aesthetic for what Beholder is and can really do.
Well,
I love it.
So I made a poor life decision with Xanathar. So I bought Tales from the Yawning Portal, a bunch of D&D plug-and-play adventures. I was new to 5th edition. I opened the Doom Vault. I didn't realize the Doom Vault had 100 rooms, but they were in the Doom Vault for about a year in real time. And I'm like, okay, I need to replace the actual enemy here with someone interesting. So I'm like, yeah, multi-page boss battle. First they fight Xanathar. Then he's going to turn into a death tyrant after he's defeated. And I had like this elaborate 7-stage boss battle prepared because they'd been dungeoning for like a real world year at this point. At one point, one of them literally drilled into the ceiling for natural light. So they polymorph him and turn him into a goldfish and throw him into a bag of holding.
Oh shit. Xanathar becomes the fish he cares for.
Get wrecked.
So, about a year later, real time, they're like, oh, I reach the bag of holding. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? They flip it upside down. So, if something is too big for the bag of holding inside it, like a goldfish suffocating and turning back into a beholder, it rips into the astral sea. So then they just knew that somewhere out there was this single most irritated beholder of all time who had one goal to find them and ruin their lives.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Xanathar was also the beholder that ran like that thieves guild, right?
Yep. The Xanathar guild. That's the one.
Yeah.
That is how they ended up in that dungeon. Is they were just trying to get their wallet back that was stolen by a Kenku pickpocket on mission 1.
Right.
That's brilliant.
I remember I was when I was looking through the beholder stuff. There's a few notable ones, Xanathar, of course, and then there's the Xanathar Harusakai or whatever, the Eye, who claimed to identify Xanathar in the 14th century. Sounded kind of crazy. There's a bunch of different, what looks to be variations of Xanathar too.
I think one of my personal favorite is the third time I brought in Xanathar, because once in a while I just bring in Xanathar for the meme at this point. He had given his goldfish a super elaborate artificer body, like a full-on mech suit with a goldfish on top of it.
Oh, like full, like mega mind. Like
I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was like the powdered armor of Itok or something. It was like a canon object. It was like a legendary powered suit. And I put the goldfish in it. One of the party members just lifted the lid off the bowl and cast Destroy Water.
Damn.
If it works, it works.
Damn.
Right.
That is
brutal.
I guess I'll go ahead and get into the stuff. I'm glad you guys know your stuff. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So, for those of you who don't know, a beholder, sometimes called the sphere of many eyes or an eye tyrant, was a large aberration normally found in the Underdark. These large oar-shaped beings had 10 eye stalks and one central eye, each containing powerful magic. Powerful and intelligent beholders were among the greatest threats to the world. Beholders were immediately identifiable, being essentially a floating head with one single cyclops-like eye, surrounded by 10 smaller eye stalks. Other than this, the main feature of beholders' anatomy was the massive gaping maw. Because of these features, beholders were occasionally known as spheres of many eyes, or eye tyrants, like I said, although the latter also referred to a specific type of beholder. And the eye tyrants are kind of one of the fun ones, I think.
Damn. There's just so much that happens with beholders, because like if a beholder has a dream, like it manifests, it's like it can make other beholders and subsets thereof, and that's just wild.
Yeah, they have like the true power of just like magical creation, which is fucking horrifying. Like reality manipulating. Go ahead.
And one of my favorite things about beholders is they believe themselves to be the most perfect beholder to ever behold. So, like, they'll manifest another beholder and hate them.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite moments is they made a parade float of Xanathar. And Xanathar had a night terror about this parade float, which created a bunch of parade full beholders. That when they broke them open, they broke into thousands of tiny beholders like confetti.
Oh my god.
Oh, damn. That's something else right there. That kind of reminds me of an idea that I had for like a big bad, a beholder thing that was supposed to be derived from Xanathar. I never got a chance to implement it, but the idea is like Xanathar one night has a dream, and in this dream, he dreams that he is a lesbian, which is absurd because beholders don't have genders. They are asexual. There's just beholder. They don't even reproduce in that way. So, like, this creates thusly a lesbian version of Xanathar, which since beholders don't procreate in that way and they don't really have genders, this creates an existential crisis for the new beholder. And as a way of taking out its rage on the world, because it'll never be able to indulge in its lesbian beholder drive and desire, its goal is to erase all gender, all sex, all orientation from the entire world. It's like, if it can't have what it wants, nobody can.
Hell yeah, go off, Queen.
Actually, something similar happened. So there's a beholder named Delilah Deathray, because they tried to, like, I can't remember the full thing, but there was a cleric of love that went around and effectively tried to defeat enemies via makeovers and divine interventions. Weirdly consistently, like, they'd rolled a successful divine intervention over that campaign 7 times, and it was always for a makeover, never for anything practical or useful. So they're like, how about we give you a makeover? And then after they did, Xanathar dreamed in the female Xanathar, which was based on a thing from their Dungeon Mayhem card game of Delilah Deathray that just shoots charm rays at people and does nothing else, and all it does is ship people and leave. So just charm rays at 2 party members and leave, and that was its one objective, was to pair characters together then leave.
It's like Cupid, but beholders.
Yeah, it's deeply horrifying.
It is. I like that. And I find it hilarious that anything remotely similar to what I just described is popping into other people's heads.
Yep.
Yeah, man, you're not too degenerated. Yeah, you got this.
I guess I'm not the only one.
So, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to give a monologue about the Beholder Dragon.
Okay, yeah, maybe we can wait on that a little bit. All right, hold that thought.
Ooh.
We can talk about that when I go into the sub races, Beholder King, and all kind of shit.
Oh, there's so many.
So going back into the bit of a description here, beholders of the realms tended to be slightly larger than beholders found on other worlds, growing up to 6 feet in diameter, where on other worlds they would have averaged around 5 feet wide. The majority of beholders living on Faerun had skin colored in cool colors, purples and blues, on top of their bodies that graduated into earth tones further down. Said skin had a pebbly texture. Most of Toro's beholders had nostrils and jointed, articulated eye stalk. Because of their entire body was covered in eyes, beholders had the capacity to see in all directions at once, making it nearly impossible to ambush them, while also giving them an unusually high degree of perceptive ability. Although beholders lacked the capacity to see color, didn't know that, they had the ability to perceive even in the most darkened environment, under conditions in which a human or similar creature would be rendered blind. Beholders were also capable of flight, in spite of their lack of wings or similar physical features, simply hovering above the ground effortless. There you go. Yeah, this kind of wraps up the description of what a beholder looks like and what they can do for the basic portion of their physiology. Though I do wonder if they hover via magic or if they have kind of a propulsion, kind of like a flump,
Oh, like they're just floating on beholder farts?
Yeah, beholder fart.
So I did have to make a ruling about that one. So they're fighting a beholder, and one of the party members is like, if I hold up a giant mirror and he looks at himself, does he fall to the ground? So I ruled yes. Funny. I love the idea that he looked at his own reflection, reflected an anti-magic at himself, and fell and hit the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the canon lore reason, but that was the ruling he made at the time because it was funny, and I got to do a lot of bludgeoning damage to that player who was standing directly below the beholder.
I kind of imagine that they hover or they float just because, like, they both think they're, like, above touching the ground. And, like, because, like, their reality manipulation, you know, they just exist. You know what I mean? So, like, why would they need to walk or like, be on the ground?
My headcanon for it is that they just don't observe gravity. Yeah,
like, why would they really need to? You're like...
Yeah, it's just like...
And, I mean, for the sake of their maneuverability, it just seems like, you know, functional to float. But imagine if beholders, like, rolled on the ground. Like...
They'd just be those rolly boys.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Locomotion. Woo!
So, getting into the Forgotten Realms, ecology, and lore of these creatures. Xenophobic and vicious creatures, beholders were quick to attack enemies, including anyone they deemed not like themselves. So far to say, beholders were very, very racist. Beholders, as a rule, were violent and greedy, hungering for both wealth and power. Also capitalists.
I'd say that it's not that they're racist, like they're xenophobic in the actual sense of xenophobic. Yes. Like they are legitimately afraid of everything and anyone that could possibly hurt them.
Yeah, they're like the sterile freaks to the highest degree. Like,
yeah, they're like, no, I cannot be in the same room as another beholder. That's too much of a risk, buddy.
Yeah. They don't even want to be on the same plane as another beholder. Like,
oh, dude, I'd feel so dirty as a beholder, and if I had to share the same realm with another beholder, like I'd have to wash myself every day.
I wonder if like they would just simply like seek each other out, you know,
and just to make sure that there's no one else that could, you know, fuck with their existence. Like I gotta kill the competition.
Exactly right. I mean, they think they're better than every other beholder, so.
Yeah, they're known for their paranoia, and I think the paranoia is something to have a lot of fun playing with as a DM, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Like, so for Chekhov's beholder, so last time I had mentioned Xanathar, they threw him in a goldfish, and then the bag of holding, the bottom of it broke out, and somewhere in space is Xanathar. In that same bag of beholding was a ancient dragon they turned into a goldfish, along with a couple other horrifying things they turned into goldfish.
Well, I sense a theme here.
So
it seems like a strat.
It's kind of amazing, though, because they finally foolishly go to the Astral Sea. This took me 3 years at this point, but they're at the Astral Sea where I need them to be. They look into the distance and they see what looks like a dragon approaching, until they realize that the end of its neck is a beholder's eye, thousands of teeth, and wings covered in hundreds of eyes. Xanathar had built himself a new body out of all the things they had killed and thrown into the Astral Sea.
I love it.
Jesus Christ.
We've come full circle to the start of the podcast where it's like Krang from the fucking Ninja Turtles. He built himself a new body.
Like, I got called out on that instantly. It's like, doesn't he think he's the most perfect? And in character, I'm like, you taught him the lesson that he could be better. So he started making himself better.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you get when you have someone who like already thinks you're the perfect being, finding ways to improve that perfect? You know,
this is a perfect Cell situation where he's like, I'm a perfect being. And then they're like, oh, no, you ain't. I could be perfecter.
Exactly.
Perfecter Cell.
Right. So, like I mentioned earlier, this was made all the more complicated since more than one variety of beholder existed, each believing itself to be the pinnacle of bodily perfection. And they viewed other beholders who differed from this image and even the most minute details as loathsome enemies and inferiors.
So, like the modern body positivity movement, if it was a person.
Yeah, basically. You got 10 pounds on me, you should die.
Do you even lift, bro?
Just get good, I guess. I don't know.
I just picture like those 400-pound models. Like, no, you may not like it, but this is what the peak physical appearance is right here.
Sorry, I'm just built different.
I'm just picturing actual Xanathar using like a telekinesis ray and dumbbells lifting them for no purpose.
Yeah.
I get swole,
As if it helps, but because the reality perception's like somehow he develops abs in his sleep.
Got mental abs. Holy shit.
Xanathar dreams of abs.
Oh, Xanathar walks down the catwalk. Woo!
It's like the mouth, and then just like underneath is just ab.
That makes me think of this web comic I read years ago. It's called Spinneret, where like it's supposed to be like a female version of Spider-Man, except she's got actual like more arms as a spider person should. And like during the first few days of her getting her powers, she's like, "I got girl abs, This is fucking awesome."
Hell yeah. So something else I found out that was pretty interesting. Beholder minds are divided into two separate entities. Each of these entities thought and acted on its own, even though it was bound to the same body as the other half of its mind. So if you need to kind of a visual for this, and you like Ben 10, think about like Alien X, you know, how he has like the two minds that have to agree to do anything. It's kind of like that.
I mean, my first thought goes to the that Bo Burnham thing, the right brain and left brain skit.
Exactly like that. Yes. Exactly. So neither half of the beholder's mind trusted the other. So they hid a lot from each other, creating a very paranoid relationship. How? So sane beholders were beholders whose minds were not divided, so to speak. They were still two entities within the beholder, but neither hid anything from the other, making a less paranoid beholder. However, the persona of a sane beholder was just as likely to be considered insane by any non-beholder, obviously, because there were two entities within a single beholder. They basically had like BPD or like multiple personalities, I guess. The beholder should also always be addressed by its full name in the conversation with them, or they would perceive it as speaking to only one of them. Right. So if you want to like, you gotta address both of them, or I guess you would like offend the other.
Damn.
So on the topic of beholders, have either of you heard of Large Luigi?
No, but I have heard of the beer holder.
I'm curious on how this relates. Please continue.
So there is a beholder named Large Luigi, who's the only lawful good beholder because he realized his secret to happiness was bartending, and uses all of his beholder powers to give people drinks. So you just go to a bar, and there's just a giant death beholder using all of his abilities to serve alcohol. That is it.
It's brilliant.
I guess that would be considered like a sane beholder, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a happy beholder. And the secret is he's constantly intoxicated.
Yeah. Like to anybody else, he's still like what
self-medicating. But if you think about it, like it's the perfect strat. Who's gonna kill the guy that's giving everybody booze?
Yeah, he's chilling. He's vibing out, man.
Yeah. Like all the drunks in the bar, like the big time alcoholics become your instant bodyguards. It's like, whoa, hold the fuck up. Did you just try to slaughter the guy that's giving us free fucking liquor? All of a sudden, the entire bar, boom.
Like, I know at some point one of my players is going to ask to be a beholder. And that's going to be deeply satisfying because I'm going to let them. And they're going to have to deal with the fact they have another character inside their body telling them to make poor decisions.
You should have two players play the same character.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
The business student and the art student should play the same beholder.
Yes. Their thought processes are fundamentally different. And I'd like to... There's a guy... Digibro. I don't know what Digi's going by now. I think they changed the name on their channel. But there was a thing proposed by Digi at one point talking about the spectrum of how people think, where like on one axis you have linear thinking and lateral thinking, then on the other axis lexical thinking and impressionistic thinking. And it's just like, if you really look at the spectrum of all those different types of pairings and thought processes, it's like, okay, a artistic person might be more lateral and impressionistic, while someone who's more businesslike would be more lexical and linear thinking. So it's like, they can't even comprehend how the other person is able to think. So it's just like, those juxtaposed forces would be so good for that.
I agree.
Indeed. See, I'm lucky. I'm on the exact middle of those thinking, and the only cost is my hands don't work correctly. Like, I get math, and I get language, and I cannot hold a pencil. Perfect deal.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely more on the lateral side of things, where it's just like, my entire thought process is idea popcorn.
Idea popcorn.
I like to tell people I don't choose what I work on. The ADHD does. So I do a lot of things, but I don't get to pick what they are. They get done in 24 hours. They're impressive. I have no say over what gets done, though.
I feel that so deeply.
Like, a fellow lateral thinker.
Oh my god. Yeah. But let's see, rounding about the ecology and lore here. So beholders were often found occupying deep underground caverns. Frequently these layers were carved out by the beholders themselves, using their eye rays to mold the environment for their purposes. Often these layers were built vertically rather than horizontally like most buildings, with beholder architecture frequently exhibiting a large number of vertical shafts, which beholders and other flying creatures could use with ease, while walking creatures found their navigation hindered. Beholders worshipped Zemned and the Great Mother. So I did a little bit of research.
They worship anything at all other than themselves is surprising.
Exactly, yeah. And I went a little bit deeper and kind of found out what these things were. So Zemned was the beholder deity of obscurement and deception, and the son of the great beholder mother. He was the underdark god of gases and fogs, sometimes known as the gas giant for his mastery of elemental air spells and renowned for his evasive and elusive abilities.
So this is the fart god.
Basically, yeah.
Gases.
Yeah. Yep. He's known as the gas giant, so big fart boy. So, you know.
Got him.
And the great mother, sometimes specified as the great beholder mother, was the eldritch matron deity of the beholders. Her title simply referred to her role as their progenitor, rather than as an indicator of her questionable gender. Beholders themselves lacked a name for her and felt no need to give her one.
But, you know, that's kind of fun. And, like, I do see parallels to, like, real-world, like, religions, because there are some belief systems where it's just like, you don't need a name for your god. Your god's the one that created shit. You're good enough.
Yeah. Basically.
It's like, what do you mean your god don't have a name? I guess if you needed a name, the creator, but that's about it.
Yeah.
God's so powerful, you don't need to give it a name. It just is.
Exactly.
One run D&D. I love the dumber the god, the more likely I am to include them. Like Ratatoskr from Norse mythology. The
yes!
God
yes! That's it right there.
Like when you roll a divine intervention, a deity comes down to help you, and it's a squirrel who's like, I can take a message anywhere.
Anywhere in the 9 realms.
So I do plan to do further episodes on each of the variants of Beholder, but I'll give a short little name drop of each. So going to the sub-races here, we have the Blood Kiss. It is a undead beholder that sucked its prey dry of blood with its eye tentacles. You have the Death Tyrant. They were undead beholders akin to zombies. You have the Doom Sphere, a beholder that had died and risen as a ghost. Its eye stalk rays took on more chilling and necromantic properties. You have the Elder Orb. The beholders were born with more amazing longevity and near immortality. The Eye of Flame, an unusually docile form of beholder whose members, while still malevolent, were willing to serve beneath more powerful beholders. The Eye of Frost, a cruel beholder who lived in solitude, usually preferred the ice spells. Eye of Shadow, lived in the Shadowfell. You got the Hive Mothers, also known as the Ultimate Tyrant, an enormously powerful variant of beholder with the capacity to stun nearby enemies, with greater range and eye ray abilities. Hive Mothers had the ability to magically dominate other beholders.
I think my favorite thing about all of this is that the nature of when a beholder has a dream and it can like create other beholders. It's always
this is what I'm going to talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, because DMs is just like, yeah, you got what you just listed, but
you can
really
get creative.
you have to get creative as a DM. It's like some rules lawyer in the group might be like, it's not in the monster manual. It's like, then you have to hand them back their monster manual. Right here, this line right here says that beholders make other beholders based off wild fucking dreams that they have.
Guess what, bitch? Now you got a shark beholder. Get wrecked.
Another Galaxy Brain trap you and your listeners can steal. Yeah. So, if you have a dungeon of beholder, give them a free sleep spell like a staff of sleep or a ray of sleep. Because if you can bait them into putting the beholder to sleep and have a second beholder spawn on them that customize the torment specifically, it's so good that it worked.
Holy shit.
Also, big bad idea. Everyone, please feel free to use this one. A beholder who has managed to work together with a mad mage that puts the beholder to sleep and then uses... I think it's either nightmare or dream. I forget the name of the spell, but there's a spell where you can manipulate the dreams of your victim, and by manipulating the dream of a beholder, you thus have the ability to create whatever the fuck you want.
Holy shit!
And as a big bad, that is devastating to your players, as you can create all these different red herrings for them to go after.
Holy shit, you could create a legion of a beholder colony, all run by this one mage and this beholder, who have some kind of weird pact, I guess, or control domination.
Oh, here's another idea. A beholder suffering from narcolepsy.
Yes. One of the eyes just sporadically cast the sleep spell. Oh my god. Getting into the beholderkin a little bit, you have the Death's Kiss, with the blood-draining tentacles. You have the Director, the Beholder's Hive, Shock Troopers, the Eye of the Deep, an aquatic species of beholder. The most notable physical change was its two large clawed arms, which is really odd. You have the Goth, a subspecies of beholder from the same plane as spectators, which fed on magic and magic objects. You have the Gazer, also known as the Eyeball, a tiny beholderkin with 4 eyes. The Gouger, a ruthless carnivore, the hunted beholders, savage. You have the Observer. An Observer was one of the most socially adept of the Beholder family. So most likely to maybe work with like a small city, a deep dark mage, a king or something. Yeah. You got the Overseer. An Overseer resembled a large fleshy tree with mouths on its trunk and eyes on its branches.
Nope.
I hate it.
You got nature ones. Every flavor.
And then you got the Spectator. A Spectator was extra planar beholderkin with 4 eyes. So it's bouncing around the multiverse, I suppose. And then last and not least, you have the Beholder Mages, or the Beholder Mage. A beholder who wished to learn the art of arcane spellcast. Outside of just their innate eye stalk ability. They kind of focus on wizardry, and that's... You got a beholder that becomes a wizard? Holy shit.
Well, ultimately at the end of the day, like when it comes to beholders, it's all in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. I haven't even gotten into their what these eye abilities are yet, It gets crazy, guys. Beholders are a big mess of shit.
They got everything. Like, we all know they got that cone of anti-magic. That's one of the big things. This is the big eye,
Right. So I'll go over this pretty quick. Many, but not all beholders also have the capacity to use their central eye to project the field of anti-magic, like you said, which cancels the effects of all supernatural abilities within a small cone of 150 feet. In addition to any spells, prayers, or similar effects, this also affected a beholder's own eye rays, expressing their power. The inability to cast its eye rays at full strength was hardly a hindrance. It allowed the beholder to attack its foes with its large toothy maw. So, beholders often attacked for seemingly no reason, would often try to end a battle as quickly as possible, unleashing their terrifying abilities all at once. So, beholder had a challenge rating of 13, 14 within their lair, So going over each of the eye rays, first you start with the charm ray. The targeted creature must succeed on a DC 16 Wisdom save or be charmed by the beholder for 1 hour. You have the paralyzing ray. Succeed on a DC 16 Constitution saving throw, be paralyzed for 1 hour. You have the fear ray. DC 16 Wisdom save or be frightened. Slowing ray. DC 16 Dexterity save or your speed is halved. In addition, the creature cannot take reactions, and it can take either an action or a bonus action on its turn, not both. You have the Enervation Ray. The targeted creature must make the DC 16 Constitution saving throw, or take 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed save after much on success. You have the Telekinetic Ray. If the creature must succeed on a DC 16 Strength save, or the beholder moves it up to 30 feet in any direction. You are restrained by the telekinetic grip until your next turn, or until the beholder is incapacitated. If the target is weighing more than 300 pounds or less, blah, 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 it is moved up to 30 feet in any direction. Yeah, so you could be lifted up and then just fucking focus blasted by all the other rays.
Yeah, that shit is brutal, dude. Like, there's a reason that they're so dangerous, and honestly, their paranoia, if you take any time to think, okay, what would this beholder be scared of as a DM? That's full reason to have them be even more dangerous. Like, okay, if they're scared of something enough, they might have a few magic items on hand and some contingency plans.
Yeah, like full, like unhinged, no prejudice, blow you up. And I think, getting into these last 4 rays, I think are the worst. You have the Sleep Ray, DC 16 Wisdom save or fall asleep for 1 minute. You have the Petrification Ray, which is a DC 16 Dex save. On a fail, the creature begins to turn to stone and is restrained. Must repeat the saving throw at the end of its next turn. On a success, the effect ends. On a failure, the creature is petrified until freed by the Greater Restoration spell or other magic. You have the Disintegration Ray. The creature must succeed on a DC 16 Dexterity saving throw or take 10d8 force damage. If this damage reduces the creature to 0, its body becomes a pile of fine gray dust. If the target is large or smaller, non-magical object or creation of magical force, it is disintegrated without a saving throw. If the target is a huge or larger object or creation of magical force, the ray disintegrates a 10-foot cube of it.
Damn.
Holy. And last but not least, we have the Death Ray. Targeted creature must succeed on a DC 16 Dex save or take 10d10 necrotic damage. If you are reduced to 0 hit points, you die.
Dude, wow, go directly to death. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Yeah. Straight to hell, man. Straight to the no-no zone, man. And you could really get creative and make the beholderkin of your Eldritch Abomination creation have variations of these rays.
I'm a big fan of like going the Majin Buu route and just giving one a candy ray, like turn to chocolate.
Yeah, you could have give one like a doo-doo ray, and boom, you got to poop yourself now.
Fail the Constitution check and just shit your pants.
Brutal.
That'd be extremely distracting.
A weirdly fun combo with a beholder is you turn one person to stone and telekinesis it around to just beat them with their friend. I had Xanathar do that one time.
I love it.
I love it.
He's like, if you kill me, your friend will fall to their doom, and then just hit them with it.
Yeah. Beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Weapon.
Classic. But that counts as a magic weapon.
Or the radioactive beam, which just gives them cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that scene from that Harley Quinn show where she just picks up a fucking cancer gun, shoots a guy, and he's like, "Wait, what did you just do?" It looks like cancer gun. Who would make this? You just gave him cancer.
Harley Quinn, you just gave me cancer. I gotta go call my kids.
Fuck this shit. I gotta go be with my family. That scene was priceless, and it's just like, in any other circumstance, would have been perfectly fine getting fucking shot. But the fact that you gave him cancer, he's like, oh, I'm living on borrowed time now.
He's like, just shoot me, I guess. Like,
oh, it's funny. Like, one of the D&D books I have even has like a list of what you can spells you can swap rays out for. It's like, if they think you know your beholder, use this list of options to make it worse. Like, one's like an irresistible dance ray, which is
hell yeah.
And you just hear like phantom hand claps, and he's just playing music, and it's like, whoop-a!
Sudden spotlights come out of nowhere.
It's a musical beholder.
First they were afraid, then they were petrified.
Wow, you really can turn a beholder into enemy.
Damn. I love
it.
That
does close up what I have for beholders today. Hope you guys enjoyed or learned something, a new way to fuck up your players. Have a ball.
Honestly, I cannot wait for the next time that I use a beholder as a DM. Like, I was getting close to using it in the last campaign because the Xanathar Guild and a few other factions were all racing underneath the city of Waterdeep to get to a vault that had a bunch of stolen treasure. Like, I was ripping off a little bit of the dragon heist stuff because one of my players had heard about that. It's like I was going to kind of segue into it in the campaign, but wouldn't you know it, someone got access to a wish spell and wished for all that gold, and then they had to bring it to the boss after destroying their ship with the shit ton of gold.
Right.
Gold is not light.
What would happen if a beholder got its hands on like a deck of many things?
It would make someone else draw and then take the stuff. It's no fool.
You know what? You're right.
It captures your party and forces them to draw from the deck.
This is like hands. It's coerced Russian roulette.
He has no
hands. You see, I can't use it because technically I have no hands, not even opposable thumbs.
You even watch it cast Mage Hand and try to pull a card.
So there's one bit with my friend Xanathar where one of his eye stalks had a knife tied to it. So they're just fighting and just stab them. And one of the players goes, "Why do you have a knife?" He goes, "I saw thousands of timelines, millions of futures. He never saw this coming, did you? Did you know?
Never thought I'd just stab you."
I'm loving your Xanathar more and more, and I need this in my life now.
This is amazing. I need a game with this in my life.
Oh my goodness. Just I will destroy you with all of the powers that are bestowed to me and this knife I found.
Shit, what does the knife do? It stabs people.
1d6 of slashing damage. Ooh!
I knew you would prepare. You had anti-magic armor. You had reflections and mirrors, smoke and invisibility. But were you prepared for my friend, Mr. Stabby?
He pulls out lemongrass. He pulls out lemongrass from one of our games.
For clarification,
oh man,
what he's referring to is a rapier called Lemon Drop, which
Lemon Drop. There you go.
Yes, you see, Lemon Drop is a obnoxious magic item that's intelligent that I made years ago for a specific player, and all it really does is it's intelligent and extremely annoying, and it secretes lemon juice all up and down the blade. So what's worse than getting a cut? Getting lemon juice in the cut. You can also dip it in water to make lemonade.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And it can also do acid splash as its own attack. So it's like, okay, it's good, but it's extremely annoying to the party.
You basically have Excalibur with lemon juice on it.
Yeah, it's just like, hi guys, Master, I'm gonna squirt lemon juice in his eye.
Yeah, get him,
Master. Why are you ignoring me?
Roll for patience.
Best magic items I've ever existed are things I've made up on the spot. I made two magic item shops one time. One I had prepared that was a respectable one, and one that was just a tarp out back. And from that one magic shop, they had bought in the stilettos of haste, which were boots of haste, except you had to do an acrobatics check or you'd fall.
Amazing.
I love
it. A Whip of Healing, which was just did 1d4 healing damage. Amazing. What else? Oh yeah, it was just a shock collar that just casts Shocking Grasp on yourself as the victim. I didn't know what they were going to do with it, but they had it.
I love that, and it's like in the hands of players, you never know. I mean, I know a guy that I used to work with. He came up with a magic item called the Wand of Wanding, in which like it creates copies and duplicates of itself that don't do anything. But if the original Wand of Wanding is destroyed, then one of the copies or duplicates becomes the new original.
That's amazing.
I don't know if this exists, but I had this idea for a Crown of Hindsight. It gives a bonus to your perception, but only after something has already happened.
That's amazing. One of my personal favorites, as I gave to Will here, is he went to a Shrine of Good Luck and rolled a natural 1 on perception check and found a lucky rabbit's foot. And then was stalked by a 3-legged rabbit for the rest of the campaign. I wanted his foot back.
It's just standing in the corner with a knife.
Oh no, it didn't need a knife. That thing was an eldritch horror.
It was a beholder that got polymorphed.
Damn, he's the DM I didn't know I wanted.
Oh goodness.
No offense to you, Sam.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I see where I'm lacking.
He just does things that you don't. You know what? With all this homebrew, I think we should move on to our homebrew for the week. All right, Sam, do you want to start, or should I, or should we roll for it?
I say we can. I don't have my dice on hand.
Oh shit! Well, you know what? I got dice on hand because I'm one prepared boy.
Gosh. It's got to be 20. Could it be 100?
He found it. Maybe.
It's going to be 10. It's going to be 20. God damn it.
Pro tip, if you want to always win the dice roll, go to person the size of the dice.
All right. I'm rolling a D100. Make it more interesting.
No. It just keeps going. That's not intentional.
It won't stop. All right. Let's roll D100s to make it more interesting.
Oh, percentile. Here we go.
Yeah, I do have a percentile here.
Well, you know, these are metal dice, sir. 23.
10.
Boom. Okay, I guess I'll be starting us off here. Let's see. Yours was that one, and I am bringing in this week the Half Giant Playable Race. Now, Half Giants were kind of a thing that I liked in 3rd edition, 3.5. You see them in other games like Pathfinder and shit, but in 5th edition, they're just not really present. Except if you consider, like, Goliath. So, I found this one. It's by Dichotomy Games. You can check them out on Reddit. I'll leave a link in the description afterwards. And let's see. They got a bunch of sub-races, which is always cool. They got some flavor text here. Let me just click on that. Get a little... Okay, in some cultures, half-giants are believed to possess magical abilities, such as the power to control elements or communicate with nature. This belief has often been linked to their connection to their giant heritage, as giants are frequently associated with natural forces and primal energies. In other tales, half-giants are said to be born with powerful rage that can only be quelled through the intense physicality of combat. These stories of uncontrollable anger often lead to a stigma for half-giants. They are often seen as a source of great danger for those around them, making it difficult for them to integrate into society or form meaningful relationships. Despite their reputation as fierce warriors, half-giants are very often peaceful, contemplative, and valuing introspection, self-reflection above all else. They may spend long periods of time in isolation, meditating. Okay, yeah, we get it. They're a stoic bunch.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah, it goes on to talk about half-giant names and their dominant genetics. Like, I get it, motherfucker. I've watched Harry Potter. I know that Hagrid's a half giant.
Basically.
Hagrid's a legend. He's not a stepdad. He's the dad that stepped up.
Hey. He is. Like, dude, that's one of my biggest issues with a lot of shows. Like, whether it's Harry Potter or Naruto, it's like, you got the godparents that were supposed to be there, but, like, it wasn't enough for the parents to be dead or gone or whatever. No, even the godparents weren't able to step the fuck up. Like, what's going on here?
True. Very, very true.
It's ridiculous. I swear most media just comes down to blame your parents because they weren't there and blame the godparents because for whatever reason they weren't around. It's like, what's the point of godparents if they're not even around? So,
aren't the whole point of godparents to be parents when you're not there? Like,
exactly. Like, it's like, hey, I designate, like, if I fucking die, if I kick it, like, dude, you got to step up and raise my kids. Like, that's the, social contract right here of a godparent. But, fuck that shit, I guess. So, looking at their stuff, of course, they're going to get a +2 to their strength score. Nice. They mature quickly and often within a decade and can live to be 100 years old on average. So, half giants, truly living up to their name, are often 7 to 8 feet tall and weigh about as much as 400 pounds. Your size is technically medium. Okay. Powerful build. You count as one size larger in terms of carrying capacity. You can push, drag, and lift. Giant Unchained. As an action, you can increase your size to large for 1 minute. If you do not have room to increase your size, this trait has no effect. And you can use this trait once and regain the ability to do so when you complete a long rest. You can read and speak Common and Giant, which the language for that is Jotun, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we kind of get into their sub-races, which I think is cool that they got a bunch of sub-races. We got Cyclops, Oni, Troll, and Eton. Eton?
Ooh.
Like the college?
I wasn't expecting to hear Cyclops and Oni in there. That was a fun because like Wizards of the Coast loves to be like fire, water, earth, air, and everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. So it's nice to see it like go a little more diverse than that.
Yeah, see,
I remember
I like that.
The first character I ever made was a Minotaur, and I remember like looking into wanting to make an Oni. And the DM saying, no, Onis aren't really a thing. Onis are so cool. Like,
honestly, and this kind of fills that little slot. Like, you're half Oni and therefore half giant, which is like, okay, cool. I like that. Half Cyclops, you could straight have your Leela type character for a game,
Yes.
Futurama's making a comeback, so, shout out to that.
Now's the time.
I have seen the first episode of that. It is worth watching.
Awesome. I can't wait till I, find the time to update my Hulu subscription or whatever it's on. So we're starting out with Cyclops, which an extra +1 to your strength score. So if you choose Cyclops, that's a +3 out of the gate to your strength. Like, holy
Strong
fucking shit. It's very realistic to have a 20 strength out of the gate if you go with this, and that's just wild.
I remember when I was making Titan, I was trying to think about what race to choose. Before I picked a Warforged, I thought about the half giant thing. They didn't have these sub races. Now maybe I would have picked one of these.
Right? This is where Homebrew comes to play.
Titan was a Warforged monk that I ran in one of Orion's campaigns.
Oh, that was actually the one that Donovan ran.
Quinn's. Donovan, right.
Yeah, so digging more into the Cyclops subrace, we got Cyclops Instincts. So you have Athletics or Intimidation as a proficiency, so you get to pick one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to be the master grappler, take Athletics and then get some of those extra feats like a Tavern Brawler or the Grappler feat.
Oh, yeah.
Get that major grapple energy. Poor depth perception. You have disadvantage on any ranged attacks.
Makes sense.
Against a target greater than 30 feet away. Who did this to you? Nobody did this to me.
I'd imagine disadvantage on like being blinded and stuff like that.
You know what, that would make sense. Then they got hulking stance. You're not incapacitated and not prone. While you're not incapacitated or prone, you have advantage on checks and saving throws against effects that would move you from your space or knock you prone. Okay, so you're not easy to knock down. Big boy. Then you got overbearing presence that you can add your strength mod to your charisma for deception, intimidation, or persuasion checks.
Ooh, I like that. That's pretty. Nice. So, I love when a class has a downside. Like, the old Kobold that had -2 to strength isn't, I get afflicted with -2 strength. I get to have -2 strength. Because I always find role-playing a flaw is such a good place to start a character. Like, a Cyclops sniper would be a character I build on instinct because it's so funny to me. To be like, all right, I'm a ranger, I have a longbow, and I have no depth perception, but I believe in myself strongly.
I love that, and it's one of those things where back when first edition Pathfinder was very popular, they were very known for having their quirks and stuff, where it's like, okay, there's drawbacks, so it's like, I can get like a little thing that's a little boost to one of my RP things, something very minor, and then I can just take it a bunch of drawbacks. So it's like, okay, I'm bad at a bunch of little things that have minor repercussions mechanics-wise, but it's very flavorful. Okay, then moving on to the next sub-race, we got Eaton. I can't read. Your wisdom score increases by 1. You can get Eaton instincts. Proficiency in investigation or perception, so that's really nice. I wouldn't expect that, given how Ettins are. Twinned faces. Your wide head contains 2 entirely separate brains. Well, hey, that circles back to what we were talking about earlier. Each sporting its own face. Each has its own distinct voice and personality, and can take control of the other when the other is in a weakened state. Each of your faces is separately affected by certain conditions affecting your senses and mental state. When you're forced to make a saving throw against an effect that would subject you to blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened conditions, you can make that saving throw twice instead of once. You are subjected to that condition only if both saving throws fail. That's hilarious. And if you would make the saving throw with advantage or disadvantage, you apply both advantage and disadvantage to both of these rolls.
Nice.
That'd be a fun one to have 2 players Jaeger pilot.
Dude, I like it because so many players are like, I want to be multiple personalities. And it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do mechanically here? This is what you're going to do mechanically. 2 heads, 2 faces. Next, we got Oni.
Controller and one to eat pizza.
It's brilliant. So Oni bloodline, you get a +1 to your charisma. You can choose between Arcana and Religion for your Oni instincts. Oni's hands gives you proficiency with the glaive. Cool. And then Hypnotic Haunters. You know the Friends cantrip starting at 3rd level. You know the Sleep spell. And can cast it once with this trait starting at 5th level. You know the Darkness spell and can cast it once with this trait. Once you cast Sleep or Darkness with this trait, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. You can also
cast... Are there variations between the red and blue? Or is it just based on...
It's just one.
Unfortunately.
You can also cast either spells using any spell slots you have of the appropriate level.
Okay.
Hey, bonus spells. And I think where it's like, you got these options that's like, okay, red leaning, blue leaning, I guess.
This sounds more like the caster version of the half giant.
Yeah. And then we kind of round things out with troll. So that's cool. Constitution +1. For the instincts, you can choose nature or survival. And emergency regeneration. At the start of your turn, if you've taken damage since the end of your last turn, you can recover 2 HP. You do not recover these hit points if you are at 0 hit points, or if you have taken acid or fire damage since the end of your last turn. The number of hit points you recover increases to 3 at 6th level, 4 at 11th level, and 5 at 16.
I do like, them putting the troll regeneration in there, though very, very lackluster. Though I guess you would have to balance that in somewhere. But I would rather it be a good feature and then have like a pretty decent negative than it be like you heal 2 health. Like,
Well, it's one of those things where
I'd say like a speed penalty or something.
I think it's one. Yeah, there should be like maybe another downside here, but you can get around it. And the cool thing is, like, it's a little bit of minor regeneration, so you don't see that too often.
I mean, I would imagine, if I were to be like, oh man, I want to play a troll, a main feature of a troll, they're known for their regeneration. So it has to be a little bit more, of a feature of that suburbs, I imagine. Because then otherwise, why would you pick it? You know what I mean? Like, other than the flavor of you wanting to be a troll.
Yeah, I mean,
you can always use it like a jumping point too. Like, I find in 5e races, they're usually like a starting point, and then you can build the rest of your class build around. Like, say you made a troll barbarian.
Yeah.
Suddenly you have that extra durability, and all those hit points are now worth twice as much because you're taking half damage.
That's true,
or if you went like one of the, I think it's Pass of the Beast can heal a bit, or if you went like, oh, I'm a troll paladin and I reflavor my flavor and adds to more healing, you could try and like give that little extra boof to yourself.
True, it's definitely true. And I could imagine, in that sense, it goes a little crazy. We're gonna kill this player now. But I mean, I guess you would just throw a fire enemy, but like, wouldn't be hard.
All right, so Sam, you ready with your magic thing for the week?
Yes. I have brought in the Bag of Wonders randomization. This is brought to from D&D Beyond. Let's see, who's the creator here? We wrote on this big table. The creator looks like Mehmet. Mehmet. All right, so thank you to you for making this item. Some pretty sick. So this is a wondrous, very rare item. This bag is an extremely flamboyant violet color with a golden question mark on one side and feels as if it was made with the finest silk. The bag weighs 5 pounds. It's a Riddler's bag. So looking inside the bag reveals nothing. You see only an empty bag. Reaching inside the bag, you also feel nothing. But when you remove your hand from the bag, an object or creature randomly chosen from the table below is in your hand. In the case of a creature, the creature falls to the ground, prone and unaware of its surroundings. Placing an object in the bag results in the bag beginning to shake violently and fall to the ground, then spit the object back out. If another object or the same one is attempted to be placed in the bag a second time within a 10-day.
A 10-day is a week in the Forgotten Realms.
Oh, okay. So if you put it in a second time within a 10-day, the bag shakes even more, hitting anyone within 5 feet of the bag for 1d4 bludgeoning damage. And again, the bag spits the object out. He slapped on his face. If another object, or the same one, is placed in the bag a third time within a 10-day of the second attempt, the bag devours the object, sending into a void, disappearing from existence, and the bag cannot again be used for a 10-day. Any additional attempts to store an object in the bag results in this again, resetting the cooldown back to another 10-day before its next use. That's funny. Once per day as an action.
I'm looking at this table right here. It's a percentile table.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Let's see.
Once per day as an action, someone can reach into the bag and remove something from it. Roll 1d100 and use the table below to determine what is removed. Anything removed from the bag is permanent to the plane and will not disappear within it after a time limit. If it's another item or a creature on the plane, see the monster listing for the creature statistics. A creature removed is prone and immediately hostile, as it is scared is confused, but may potentially be persuaded to be friendly. So I don't know if I should go through this entire list, but I think I'll just go through.
Let's just highlight some of it, because I'm looking at this and we got like a recently caught salmon, a giant spider, a pint of milk, An empty spell book appears in your hand. Like it got
a golden flute, a random +1 weapon, a deck of illusions, roll of fireball,
a portrait of a nude halfling woman,
a knight in golden plate armor,
a small bit of snow, a diamond worth 100 gold, a small rubber ball,
a white dragon wormling,
a skeleton, a thunderwave scroll.
You pull a white dragon wormling from the fucking bag. Holy shit!
So you can get.
So I looked up the bag because I needed to know, and apparently one of the items is a pristine blue dragon egg appears in your hand, and after 20 days, the mother comes looking for it.
Yep.
I love it.
So this bag is interesting. You want to give your party something to little fuck around with them a bit? Give them this.
Oh, they can fuck around and find out. Look at this shit. Yeah. A pair of ruby slippers appears in your hand. A bucket of chicken falls to the ground. A scroll of fairy fire. A couple of silk ribbons. Set of shackles.
A vial of wolf blood appears in your
holding
hand.
a great axe.
A deck of playing cards. Upon collecting all of them, you discover all of the 2s, 6, and 9s are missing. What the fuck?
A bag of holding falls. What? A set
Wait,
of
were we gonna say the
tools.
same one?
A beautiful elven woman. And your hand is holding her right ear.
Amazing. So just a fun bag of fuckery. Honestly.
A half-eaten plate of boar ribs.
I'm all for this. An orc's toe.
30 platinum? Holy shit. 300 counterfeit gold.
A small plastic card with 16 digits, the name Robert Paulson, and a Visa logo appears in your hand. You have no idea what this is.
Just don't forget those 3 little digits on the back.
Wait, a container of dust of sneezing and choking? What the fuck? I love it.
A slinky made of silver.
Hey.
A moldy piece of bread.
A note that reads, "His bag is nothing but trouble."
This is amazing. This is the kind of fuckery that I like in a game.
Yeah, it's great. A wooden peg, like this random shit. Portrait of a nude halfling woman.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, yes.
Oh man. So yeah, just like I like that one a lot. I think it's fun.
I think going on to more homebrew stuff, I'm like I'd say going beyond homebrew, Ramen Packet Games has really got it going with all the games that they're making. Like, hot
Absolutely.
damn.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have our games. We have our radio show where we play test these games. You can hear the stories of ponies and balloons, robots, and first telling your players that they're basically Nazis, then realizing that there was an invitation to kill them. Or like whatever games get sent across our desk, we love to play.
And anybody listening, please check these guys out. As you can tell, they seem pretty fucking cool. Their stuff sounds cool.
Absolutely. Before I forget this week, though, I am going to dive into our Describify.
Oh, yeah, we can end it out with your Describify.
Well, you know, a word that I haven't seen much of, but I feel like could be very useful in the DMing situation is furrow. Do you know what a furrow is, Sam?
Not to be mistaken for Furfuro, the Pokemon?
Oh, yes. Keen distinction here. So a furrow is a long and narrow, kind of a shallow trench in the ground. Typically like what you might see made from a plow. Like say if a farmer's plowing their field, that leaves a furrow through the field. It's kind of like a rut, a groove, kind of a narrow depression. Or in some cases, like you're describing a NPC's face, their eyebrows might like start to furrow, and you know like how like some people get like those little like deep wrinkles in the forehead.
Yeah.
You'll see a furrow form in their forehead. You know. Like I can't do it, but
I can't do it without like scrunching up my nose. Like,
nah, like the most I get is like a little, you know. Like, but I guess that's just how my face is. Give it another decade.
If you can make a furrowed face, post a picture and tag us in it on Twitter.
That's it. We're just gonna get we're gonna get tagged in every face frown possible. I've heard furrows described as like, a frown formed in their forehead.
Makes sense.
I'm like,
the furrowies.
The furrowy.
Do you think you've ever made a furrowed face?
Absolutely.
Right now. He's like, I'm doing it right now.
He gets that exact expression when he'll be in the middle of a narrative scene and get actually, and every time without fail, the furrowing will happen.
I feel that. Yep. When someone like interrupts you and goes like, "What'd you say?"
The actually is very real.
I think I'll just buy a mask so I can just like stare at them ominously.
Oh man, the
Don't you
dream
have a
of
plague
a mask
mask in the mail for exactly that? Like a
I
plague
want a plague doctor
Yes,
mask.
it's coming tomorrow.
Amazing. You're living my dreams.
You're gonna love the scythe that I'm working on for you, because like remember I picked that one up last week. I found it inside a tree.
Ah, true. You did find it.
I want to kind of like refurbish that, like sand it, get a good lacquer going, put a little stain on the handle, and like clean up all that rust.
Yeah.
Then you could hang it on the wall with the plague doctor thing and the little bathroom poster.
Amazing! Yes, I agree with this wholeheartedly.
It's amazing what you find in random hollow trees.
This is true.
That thing is cursed. You know this, right?
Oh,
yeah, it's definitely cursed. There's a soul in that blade.
Well, I happen to be one of those people, like, if I'm walking somewhere, I'm going to find weird, random shit.
But yeah, I think if we don't have much else to go over, that's kind of closes us up.
Well, hey, plug your stuff, guys. Tell us where everyone can find you.
All right. So we've managed to make it that you can literally just Google Ramen Packet Gaming. But also, if you look us up on itch.io, that's our central base at the moment. You can find us over on Ramen Packing Gaming on Twitter, Ramen Packing Gaming on Linktree, and hopefully at your local game store soon.
Hey,
I'm looking forward to that.
At least 2 stores, so that's something.
And hey, if you need more playtesters, we have. If you need any playtesters, we have a whole server full of gamers ready to go.
This is
Good
true.
to know.
This is very, very true.
We gladly volunteer our server as tribute.
Yes. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Dungeons and Talkshows. We talked about the Beholder and met Ramen Packet Gaming.
Yep. Everyone enjoy the weekend.
Enjoy your weekend, guys.
I'm going for noodles. Bye.
Bye.